Alrighty y'all, so we finished up stamping out these wallets, and now we'll start getting to this side. What's up everybody, Austin Carter here with Attack Line Leather. I apologize I haven't been posting a whole lot of videos. As some of y'all may know, I'm a full-time firefighter, a full-time family man, and so that takes up about 90% of my life, which I love. The rest of the 10% I spend doing leather projects for friends, family, and some clients, and so I utilize that time to crank out as much as I can, which if I video all the time, it really slows down the process, and it's tough for me right now to just dedicate solely to video work. So with that being said, I'm going to kind of change some things up. I'm going to do some more as I go type of videos, kind of more just like me in the shop. I still want to incorporate a lot of tips, tricks, thoughts, projects that I'm working on with useful information for all y'all that are watching. I think this will be a more beneficial way for me to put out content, to keep it a little bit more steady and to still be able to kind of share the things that I'm working on and how I get there. But also, I want to really, I want to build some projects that y'all are interested in also. So go ahead and leave a comment of some things that you'd like to see. Maybe you follow me on Instagram or Facebook and you've seen some kind of my different projects that I haven't posted about yet. Maybe you like to see how I build one of those. Again, it's going to be kind of as they come, because like for instance, someone mentioned that they like to see how I build my welding arm pads. If I do get an order, however, I can utilize that time to make a video and show y'all kind of my process as I go about how I construct one. Obviously, I do a ton of belts, I do a ton of wallets, things of that nature. So there's not going to be a ton of repeat on that, but as a new project comes in, or if I come up with something that I'd like to build and show y'all, I want to share that with y'all. Alrighty, y'all. So it is the day after Thanksgiving. I'm going to start recording, and I've got a few projects to do before Christmas. Ton of wallets I got to do. It's just your simple bifold wallet. So nothing crazy. Again, just going through stuff. I got a couple other different style wallets that I got to build as well. A couple belts that I got to build. I have to do one that's fully buck stitched, which will be fun. Yeah, I think a couple helmet shields. What else was I thinking? I'll have to check my order list. But yep, got a few things to build. I got some work to do. Follow along.
Whoa.
All right, so from my wallets, I do little window boxes. So here's the fold line. And then with my calipers, I measure out about a 1/4 inch for the border. And so I will make my borders. All right, and then right here, I just join the lines with a pencil. Alrighty. And so for these particular wallets, one side is going to have an initial and some designs. The other is going to be basket stamped for each one of those. And so what I'm going to do now, and I don't really do this after I cut everything out, but because it's mostly stamping and very little tooling, I'm just going to tape everything. Normal blue painter's tape, per usual. Again, this helps with the stretch of the leather. It helps it prevent from stretching. So as you pound your stamp into the leather, using it without tape, it will displace and make your leather a larger surface area. So I'm gonna do that. All right, so I got them all taped up, and I hate this kind of stuff, so I'm just gonna trim that real quick. And I got this sweet little like poundo board from Hobby Lobby. It's just, you know, some rubber, but it makes a good cutting surface, or some if you got to cut out some holes or punch some holes. It's actually pretty nice, pretty inexpensive. If y'all don't know, Hobby Lobby actually most Hobby Lobbies have a leather section with, you know, some tools. Some are pretty good, and I use them every day. That might be a separate video I could do. A lot of them are cheap, you know, but if you're just getting started, it is, in my opinion, a great place to start. They do sell some different types of leather. Again, if you're just not wanting to break the bank, and you're just kind of dabbling, another great place to get started. They also sell your more common fibings dyes. They do sell fibings products there. So your blacks and your browns and your saddle tans. A lot of they'll sell daubers, and obviously like all your paintbrushes and things of that nature. But then I also buy a ton of storage, like boxes and like storage trays that help me with organization. And I won't show you like the whole shop right now because it is extremely disorganized. When the holidays hit this family, everything gets shoved into my shop. And so one of the videos in the future is probably gonna be after I do all of my Christmas orders, but it's going to be kind of getting ready for 2026, and we'll probably do like a shop cleaning video. I can talk about kind of like the new layout. I have done some changes since the last kind of shop tour that I did, so I can show you some of the things I've added or taken out or changed. And yeah, maybe it'll inspire you for your spring cleaning of 2026 to go well. But alrighty, we've got that all done. Now we're going to do some stamping. Alright, y'all, so on one of the sides of each of these, client wants some Texas basket stamp. And so I have a custom Texas stamp. I'll leave a link in the description of where I got it. I cannot remember to the life of me now which website I got it from, but I can look it up and leave it in there if you're interested in it. But yeah, so I wanted that. And then this is just a regular, I believe this actually I got from Hobby Lobby, just a little border stamp. It's the PD011, and that's a nice kind of small to medium border stamp that I like to use. So to get started, what I'll do is on my wallet, obviously one side's going to have initials and some artwork, and so it folds over. I kind of like it to have a running direction that makes sense. So if you're looking at it like this, I'm going to run my basket stamp at more of a diagonal pattern. So all I'll do is I'll just take my ruler, connect the corners, and just draw a little light line, light line to follow the basket line. So we'll do that for all these. I'll do like a couple at a time, a few at a time. So you gotta wait for the leather to kind of go from this color to more that color, and so you'll see it start to change. That is the appropriate time to start stamping into leather. So we'll kind of do it a few at a time. Once I'm done with one stamping side, the next will kind of be ready to go, and we can start moving along. But at this time, another thing I can do, actually, before I get too far ahead of myself, is I can start cutting out the borders. So I'm using I'm using a craft tool swivel knife. It's their Pro edition, I think, with their 1/2-inch blade. I have 3 different swivel knives. Each one of them serves a purpose. I have a 1/2-inch barrel Berry King with a 1/4-inch straight blade. That's what I use primarily for a lot of my swivel knife work. I have a smaller, the smaller Berry King, I think with the, I can't remember the blade size. It's a small blade size. I use that for a lot of my letters and small filigree and kind of just very decorative cuts. Works awesome. And then I use this one for all of my straight cuts. It's just, to me, it's easier to control. And by having 3 different knives, I think, to me, the longevity will be there. One of them just not getting absolutely destroyed. And it also keeps me from having to sharpen them constantly. So that's what I do that for. So a little while ago, I was talking about the 8B pencils that I use. I really like it. It leaves a pretty hefty lead line. You can see it. It pops up really well on the leather. And some people get all worried about drawing on leather and, oh, will the lead show? Well, when it dries out, you just take an eraser and erase everything. By the time you paint or dye, antique, and finish it, all that lead's going to get, yes ma'am, all that lead's going to get brushed off or washed off or painted out, and you're just not going to be able to tell. So, using pencil is not a big deal. Do your best to erase the noticeable stuff. And then I would advise never using pencil marks while it's cased, because instead of leaving lead, you'll leave impressions, and you can't erase those. So, all right, so we're going to let this kind of dry out. This one's getting close. We'll get to tooling. I just start right there in the center, and I line it up with my line. There you go. Real nice impression right there. Then you come to the other side, line everything up. And then from there, you just kind of walk it and go back and forth. For this wallet, I'm using veg tan leather. It is 5 to 6 ounce, and it is not Herman Oak. It is just another brand, which I will have to look up or add into the notes because I cannot remember it. But it's actually, I've tooled a few pieces on it, and it's actually pretty nice to use. When you start coming towards the border, make sure you tilt your stamp so that you're not cutting into the side right there. So line everything up, tilt it up, and then as you can see right there, we're not hitting over that border. So another thing is, don't worry about necessarily how it looks. We're still going to do that border stamp. And so that does kind of hide a lot of maybe the imperfections or the stamp marks that you'll see right there. So in a previous video, and actually the video is done pretty well, I showed how to get perfect border stamps to where it lines up perfectly and you don't have like huge gaps, or you're not like mashing down on the stamp because you're getting too clustered. So I'll go over it just briefly real quick, but I do have a video that I go more in depth with it. So what I do is I just start at each corner. I capture the corner, right? So you don't want to start at one end and just work your way down and try and finish perfectly over here, right? Let's make sure we finish perfectly. So there, it's gonna be perfect regardless of where we start. Now, to make it perfect here, capture these. Alrighty. Now, I always start from one side and work till about to where I get to be able to split the difference with one stamp. So you'll notice right here, I'll try to do my best. I've only done 2 extra stamps from my capture. I can see if I stick my stamp right there in the middle that I can add a perfect stamp to each side. So I know now that I need to stop stamping this way, line it up in the middle. Now I can just, boom. Now you have as close as you get to equal and perfect border stamps. And then you just do that all the way around. So for the longer runs, you just kind of have to, not get too carried away. You start to feel like you can fit in. It's getting close there. So I could probably do one more. Yep. Boom. All right, we'll just finish up this run. There we go. So there's one side completely basket stamped with Texas. I'll do that for the rest of these. And yeah, I gotta finish that up, and then I'll start doing the initials on the other side. Alrighty, y'all. So we finished up stamping out these wallets, and now we'll start getting to this side. Good morning, y'all. Day 2, back to work. Just to kind of help me get organized, if they have specifics on, like, say, a wallet or belt on the back, whether it's the tape or just the black plain leather, as long as it's not showing, I'll write the specs on what the client wants. I'm going to work on some initials that I can transfer over to wallets. To trace out my letters onto my wallet. These wallets are completely dry. like I stated earlier, you don't want to do this on a cased piece of leather, so a wet piece of leather. Because I'm tracing, I'm going to trace lightly, and it's still going to lay down the lead. But say I did this and it was kind of tilted or off center. Well, if it was still wet, I'd still leave an impression. Okay. With it being dry, I can still erase it if I do mess up, and I can do it over again. So just a key tip, if you want to save yourself some time and some frustration, make sure you do this when everything is dry. The client did want a cowboy hat on the C, so what I did was I just quickly drew out a couple options for them, and so later on I'll send a picture of this to them for approval and see what they want. So real quick, what I'll do is I'll just drop the blades that I'll be using on my swivel knives. So I'm going to start tooling these. I'm going to tool the letters first, and then I'm going to do the kind of decorative cuts surrounding it, and then after that I will bevel all the edges. All the wallets are tooled up, minus that one. I have to double check with the client. But yeah, that's that. Alright y'all, that'll do it for this video. I really appreciate y'all following to the end. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Stay tuned for the next video, which should be pretty soon after this one. Again, we're going to go into the dyeing, antiquing, that whole process, the finishing process. And so hope to see you on the next one. Y'all have a great day.